hoping that by end of the session today, we would have explored our inner self. You've been looking outwards for most of your sessions. You've been looking at buildings, as we know. We've been thinking about the figure, the faces. We've been thinking generally about you've been doing lots of observation drawing. But what I thought would be really good would be, how do we focus inside us? How do we focus in our inner world and make marks according to that? So we are actually, when we look at lots of things around us, especially nature, we know that we see a lot of pattern within nature. We are surrounded by beauty. If when you go for a walk, so, just generally you see a flower, or you see the clouds, or you see the trees, and you see there is pattern in everything. Because pattern is kind of a basis of our creation, just like our body has a certain pattern, the way the proportion is and the way we are. So there's quite a mathematical structure to everything that we see around us. And nature has inspired lots of artwork historically. So today what we're going to begin with is I'm going to share with you some images of nature to see how, when we, can everybody see that? Great. So I'm just going to take you through some images and to see that there are, even when you might take a walk along the river and you see the way the water has created marks on the sand, and they might just be like waves, for example. If you look at the next one, each time I've actually gone to Erith, I get so amazed by the marks that in the river when the tide is low, and you just see these amazing marks, and really you see no mark is like another. It's almost, and there's a rhythm or there's a harmony to things. And this is all nature creating marks around us. And I think it's just us being sensitive to that creation that's happening around us. And no moment is like another moment. Each moment is its own unique moment. And just like with time, so if I go to the next one. So here you have like a dried up leaf. Autumn is quite a lovely time when leaves actually dry up and you see all the little patterns which branch off. So whereas the marks which we had before were almost like wavy lines, whereas these are more like a branch where you might have a line and then it breaks off. It's almost like, I imagine, like our blood capillaries are within us, where we have, our blood being supplied to different parts of our bodies. And there's a structure to it. Maybe it's not totally symmetrical, but it's almost like a river feeding different parts. And how they're all connected, because each little part is connected to another part. And I think in a way we are similar too. We are all somehow connected. And it makes a difference when, something happens in the other side of the world, like the virus, and how it has actually, spread and made a difference to our lives. If you actually see in creation, you see how things are connected. So here we have a different kind of a form. It's almost like a spiral. It's almost like, middle of a flower, but it's this kind of continuation. And these marks are, again, there's a rhythm to them. You can see a small mark getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can almost see how, again, there is a kind of a rhythm in this particular one. Then we've got a peacock feather, again, all the line connections, the color, the shape, and how one shape is contained within another shape, and how that shape is contained within a separate shape, and how amazingly nature actually separates those different parts just to add that color to life. And this is such a beautiful one. I just feel so drawn. And I think we all somehow get drawn to certain kind of images again. So like a shell, here we've got, the center, which is almost empty. And then how the rhythm kind of continues around. So there's a structure to this image. And then how it's kind of divided within that. So while we're looking at these, also think about that if you were to draw this shape, very simple shape, we're not looking at any detailing or anything, we're just looking at a skeleton of a shape. How would you draw that? How would you? So basically we're kind of storing certain amount of memory, and then we're hoping that we'll feed on that memory when we come to draw certain shapes. Again, very simple, but again, the multiple spirals, And like each of us, each shell is unique. Sometimes we might think it looks quite similar, but there's a difference to all of them. Some might be just very, very simple. And then you've got something which is far more busier than the others, and the colors are different. So there's this kind of, again, there's a rhythm happening to it. We've got a zebra here. And how, again, we've got these marks, very contrasting black and white marks. Very solid this time, quite different to the ones on the shells, but they're extremely, varied. And from what I know, different zebras, different families have different kinds of marks on them, which differentiate them from other zebra families. And it's also amazing how, they kind of curve around one another, how they become islands within shapes, how shapes become little containments for other shapes. So that's almost like a middle of a flower. Even sunflowers, as you know, have this kind of a continuous rhythm that's going through them. Similar spiral of a chameleon, but quite different. So again, we've got the spiral going on, and then we've got these little ringlets inside them, and we've got just color variation. droplets onto a leaf. And again, how each one of them sort of projects what's underneath. Beautiful peacock. And the amazing pattern that nature has created here. You know, we have lots of books that actually explore the geometrical kind of structure of these, how there's an underlying sort of mathematical geometrical structure. Again, a very simple shape here. Quite different this time, middle of a palm leaf, where, you know, almost drawn by a ruler. You would think how, you know, but they project from this kind of middle bit and project outwards. The energy almost like transmitting from the center and spreading into the outer bits of the leaf. Maybe I'll stop talking for a couple of ones. You could just look hard and see what you see. Autumn leaves. It's a very beautiful time, autumn, how we actually see the different colors in the leaves. And these are just from the woods in Lesness, you have like different leaves. Again, you can see the way they branch out. So there's just so much richness in nature when you start looking at the marks within nature, let alone color. So with some, you actually see, although they might look symmetrical, you might see that the left part almost looks like the right part, but there is still slight differences to them, the way they branch out. And that's something which you might, you know, want to do at some point, is just looking and just seeing how, and this was last weekend when we went for our walk, and you could see the way that around the river, the clay is cracked, you know, in different parts, and how that, again, nature creating these wonderful marks around us. Trees. I don't exactly know where this mark comes from, but you can see probably it's almost like a microscopic projection of a leaf, or like an epidermis of a leaf. And then how do we translate them in black and white? Because mostly what you've been looking at is you've been looking at contrast in your drawings. You've been looking at shading. You've been looking at tones, and, you know, how also you can create marks, and then how you can rub away marks. So how do we look at these marks in black and white? It's amazing when we hear about, you know, certain animals that just see this world in black and white. And here we are, we can, you know, because of the way our eyes are constructed, we actually see the color. So I'm now going to take you through some warm-up exercises. So if you can sit very comfortably on your tables, and we're going to, and so if you have your And then we're going to be drawing as well later on. So if you have your paper, whatever in front of us at some point. But so we will begin with, so I'm going to stop sharing for a minute now. So we're going to do some warm-ups before we start drawing. So we're going to just basically make sure our bodies are straight. And we're going to just feel, is my head still there? Still very much. Just feel your ears, your face, your necks. If you feel any tension anywhere, you know, I mean, necks always, we carry a lot of weight sometimes on our necks. And sometimes when we are tense, that's the first part where it actually hits us. Then we're going to come to your shoulders. And we're just going to roll them back very gently. And then the other direction. Stretch out your arms up. And if you can, you can't see my arms, but if you can just sort of put them together and basically give yourself a stretch. Let's do that once again, shall we? Just bring them back. Lovely. Give our hands a little shake. And just a fist, a tight fist with the thumb in front and back. Again. Okay, give it a rub. I think that's relaxed us a bit. Good. So what I want us to do now is I'd like you to have a piece of paper and maybe an HB pencil. Okay, now before we do that, we're going to actually concentrate on our breath. Now, I'd like you to just put your hand on your tummy where your belly button is, or maybe both your hands if you want. And I want us to just see how are we breathing today. So on your tummy, your hands both in front of your tummy, how are we breathing today? Now, lots of times we actually breathe very shallow. I'd like us to just concentrate on that. So maybe just shut your eyes for a minute. Now, when you breathe in deeply, breathe out. Maybe it might be an idea to breathe in from your nose and breathe out from your mouth. In again. And out. In again. And out. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to draw while concentrating on our breath. Okay, so when we breathe in, we're going to go up, breathe out, we're going to come down. See how long your breath is or short. Follow it exactly. Be true to yourself. Just see the vertical line up should go as you breathe in. Pause, breathe out. Pause, breathe in. Pause, breathe out. Try to concentrate, look at your line, because we're doing these exercises as kind of being mindful. Because what happens is that a lot of times we might be really trying to concentrate on something, but because we've got a monkey mind, it always gets distracted. It always wants you to think about something else. But bring it back to your breath. So see if you could really concentrate, please. Look at your drawing, follow your lines. Breathe in. Breathe out. Also think about your heart. What is your heart doing? Is it thumping? Can you feel your body? Is it calm? Is it agitated? Is it being distracted? Come back to the line. Are there any tensions in your body? And if they are, what part of your body is feeling tense? We will do this for another couple of minutes in silence. Okay. Everyone, how are you doing? We're going to go to our next exercise now. So you're going to turn. You're probably doing this in your sketchbooks, are you? You're doing these in your sketchbooks, but you just let me know if you're doing these in your sketchbooks. Excellent. So we're going to either take another piece of paper or you can turn that around, whatever works for you. We're going to do one more exercise now. The idea of when we do a mindful drawing is that it's meant to sharpen your concentration, just brings us back. And I guess like when, I don't know whether people have tried meditation, the thing is when we meditate, we concentrate on our breath and then our mind goes somewhere else and we try to bring it back to our breath. So this time, we're going to draw freehand circles. So firstly, we're going to, because when we are rushing, we actually might not close our circle. We might just be really rushed. But what we're trying to do here is we're really concentrating and we're trying to draw a circle and completing it, making sure. Now you can draw them as big or as small that you like, depending on, and with each breath, we are drawing each circle.
What I've discovered as a left-handed person, if I started on the right hand of the page, because it stops that smearing on the.
Okay.
So yeah, as a right-handed person, you can start on the left side of the page and move across. But as I found out in the last exercise, I wished I'd started.
Gosh, thanks, Jamie. because I wouldn't have thought about that.
Neither did I until I just did it. Thank you, Bhajan.
And we're going to go clockwise. I've just noticed I've been doing anti-clockwise. So if you've started anti-clockwise, carry on anti-clockwise. If you've started clockwise, carry on clockwise. We'll do that for a while, and then we'll swap later on. So make sure your circle is being completed.
Am I breathing? Am I completing the circle on the in breath or the out breath, or is it a complete cycle of the breath?
Complete cycle of the breath. Maybe it's a good exercise to try either way. You know, maybe see what works for you. The point is to be mindful of what you're doing and not being distracted. Try to fill in all the little bits as well, but try that your circles don't cross into one another. They can sit next to one another, they can touch one another. See how your breath feels. Has it calmed you? Try to relax your body as well, totally, while you're doing it. So should we change direction now? So if you were doing anti-clockwise, start doing clockwise now. And if you were doing clockwise, to start anti-clockwise now.
I discovered that I could do one far more instinctively than the other, and that you have to start in a different place than you're used to if you go the other way.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember our picture that we saw of the water droplets? It reminds me of that. I find sometimes my attention goes somewhere else and I'm not concentrating on my breath. So this exercise is actually really good if you are feeling stressed, if you're feeling, agitated, and if you just feel that your mind is everywhere and you just need to concentrate. And also because it's a task which is a repetitive task, the idea is that it kind of stops our rational mind for a minute, because it's the rational mind is always scheming. It always wants to do this and that, and oh, I didn't do my shopping, and I have to do this, and that guy hasn't called me yet, or when is this delivery going to come? But something like this actually just says, come on, just stop for a little while, just give me a break, and let's see if you can sleep for a little while, and let me just and it's when we shut off our rational mind sometimes that our creative mind actually starts to work. And this idea will just come up from somewhere, which is like from nowhere. And that only happens when we can actually stop that other mind of ours from rattling on. How do people feel? Do they want to carry on for a little while longer, or shall we? Do you think you've spent enough? If you think you have, or if you want to carry on a little while longer, yeah, then we can go to the next bit. Give me a thumb up if you think that we can move on, or if you want a little bit of more time. Jamie, how many people are thumb up?
Yeah, it's more than half. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
The next thing.
Excellent. Okay. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to select part of our drawing. So if you've got one of your circles, we're going to select the bit that you might want it on the edge, or you might want it in the middle, or you might want it wherever. I want you to, with a darker pencil, maybe a 4B, make a circle around one. Have we all done that? It could be a big circle, it could be a small circle, it could be right. Okay, now within that, you're going to see if we can actually start doing other things. So if I've selected my bigger one here, let me see what I can do with this circle. Do you think I could start? So there's something more happening now within my drawing. I don't know whether you can see that. Cross hatching. Remember some of the marks which we saw in our nature images. I mean, we're almost doodling. You know, we all doodle. Sometimes when we're on a phone call or see if you can go back to, in your memory box, go back to our nature images that we were looking at. So something started to happen with what I've selected. Something more. please ask a question, or if you're feeling a bit, not sure, please feel free to, because I'm imagining that we're all sitting together somewhere around a table and doing some drawings. So just fire away if you have any questions, or the idea is just to relax and just make some marks, basically.
I've got one about the edges. If the smaller circle sort of is halfway between the, if the big circle that we drew cuts a smaller circle,
Yeah.
do I go into the, am I using that as a border? So I'm only doing the portion within the smaller circle?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good question, Jamie. Yeah. Now we also have the space between the little circles. So I don't know whether you might want to think about that, or you want to shade in with as you go along, or you'd want to leave that to the end, make a decision later on. And just do mark making within the circles first, and then come to those spaces later on. I mean, I'm kind of thinking about what we saw in those nature pictures. We saw the palm tree. We saw the spiral of the chameleon. We saw the little bubbles on the droplets on the leaves. We saw the veins on the leaves as well. So in a way, this is almost like trying to jog your memory. So I'm kind of getting to a point where I've done quite many of my circles. And then I've got some space which I'd moved into, which didn't have any circles. And I'll see how I can work on that. And I'm also going to shade in my spaces between the circles. I'm going to see if I can make it darker or somehow gray spaces so the white jumps out from the the other circles.
It feels like one of those paperweights that your gran used to have. The glass paperweights. I don't know if they do them anymore, but
Yeah, we used to have one, I remember. Actually, I've got one, yeah. They have water in them, don't they?
I don't know.
Or is it just glass?
They were glass, I think.
Okay.
I think, but very colourful.
Mm.
Are you thinking of the Murano glass beads with lots of patterns that were sort of cut in cross section and then laid across the bottom with a big glass bubble across the top?
Yeah, yeah.
I find that when I'm working on these spaces between circles, I can start with a very dark center and then go lighter along the edges. And these branches, I'm going to give them a double line so they look like little leaves. Actually, I've just selected an H pencil now, just a very light one for some of the shading, because I think otherwise it's getting a bit smeared. How's everyone doing?
Love it.
Do you think we're got to the end? Or are people still?
It feels like we could do this all day. You know, there's different ways of looking at pattern and looking at where to fill pattern and layer pattern.
Yeah.
I don't know what is the end. Question.
That's brilliant. Well, it's kind of it's amazing how when you just focus on a small part and you have almost like a boundary, that you can almost create a little happening within that.
Mm.
It's almost like an aquarium, isn't it? Or a little thing that you're looking through.
Like a microscope or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think we could, if people are ready, we could go to the next exercise, or we could give this another 5 minutes?
Could we have a sharing?
Yeah, should we do a brief sharing?
Yeah, I think that'd be great. It'd be lovely to see what everybody's done.
Where we're at. Oh, Sarah, just coming to you. Oh wow, look at your patterns.
Oh wow.
Glorious. Oh, I love the zigzags and how you've filled those in. Cool. Risa? Ooh, hold it slightly closer, Risa. That's cool.
It's great, lovely.
Good, John.
Charmian, did you want to share or are you okay with?
Happy to. A little bit. Oh, no, hold on. Got my.
Oh yeah, you've got that. Blurry thing on.
Yeah, does that work?
Oh wow, yeah. You've got few circles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely.
Wonderful.
Keith and Maureen. Let's have a look.
There is. There's over.
Oh.
Wow.
Good fun there. Lovely. Cheers, Keith. Thank you. Claire. Let's have a look at Claire. Oh wow. It's quite Christmassy in a way. I don't know why. That's what it reminds me of.
Celebration.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on in that. That's nice. Oh. Sean. There we go.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Oh wow. Oh, that's sort of interplanetary or something. I don't know. Lots of stuff going on. That's how I see it.
I was loving the zebra stripes earlier.
I'm definitely doing a walk.
You're all right.
Headache's gone, so I'm thinking some medicine might help.
I've
Sure, it's post migraine, but I just felt right.
got these my one, which is I've got that thing on because I'm in my junk room. Video settings, turning up the video filter. There we go.
Ooh.
Great.
I was intrigued by that, leaving the spaces in the circles blank as well, and then I chickened out. I love that. I wish I'd kept them empty. Like that.
think we're okay to go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Loving this, Bhajan.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Right, let me get back to your camera.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to another folder now.
Okay.
Oh dear, what's happened?
Are you okay? Do you need help?
Sorry.
It's all right. I think if you select all
Okay.
or come out of sharing to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then select all.
Okay, yeah, we won't share yet. Select all. I should select all first, isn't it?
Yeah. If you come out of sharing and then go into the, if you stop sharing to begin with, and then when you do share, select the preview option. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it big enough?
Yeah, that's much better.
Great. Right, everyone. I'm going to share some works of some artists who use kind of images which are abstract, which means that they might look like something or they might not, or they could have multiple meanings. When we talk about abstraction, it's also a bit like my work behind me, where you could have lots of different shapes, which could, they're derived from different sources. So here I've got an image of an artist called Paul Klee. Some of you might have heard of him, and he was a Swiss artist who worked in Germany, and he came up with the concept of taking a line for a walk. He said that you could do a drawing where you drew with, your pencil or pen, but you told a story without picking your pencil up from your paper. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take, so if you select a HB pencil and a blank sheet of paper, what we're going to do is we're going to take our lines for a walk. Now, you could select whether you want to, wherever you want to start off with. Now in his drawing, you do see that he might do a whole shape, complete it, and then move on to another shape. Now these could look like, it could look like a fountain, could look like a bird shape. Here it's almost like a branch that's coming off, and almost like a bulb from a tree. This almost could be a vase sitting on a table with plants in it. So it could have different meanings, different stories. So when we, what I'd like us to do is now when we take our line for a walk, we're looking at different sources. And while we're doing it, I'll also show you some images of other artists so that we've got, you know, just different vocabulary that we're building as we are drawing. So when we draw freehand, or when we are doodling, as we call doodling, there are a few things which we tap into. We tap into some of the images which we are used to drawing anyway. I remember as a child, I used to draw a lot of eyes always, or I would draw a lot of birds. And I think people sometimes have a favorite image that they draw, or they feel comfortable drawing into. And we tap into our imagination. So when we tap into our imagination, we're also tapping into our memory. So there might be a time when you were in a certain place at a certain time, and you saw something and you might want to go there in the world of your imagination while you're drawing. And then we have our feelings, because when we are calm, we might look at some lovely marks, which might be, you know, just very like a wave or whatever. But when we are erratic, you know, when we are maybe angry, we might be exploring different kinds of marks. We might be, you know, there might be explosive marks, almost like fireworks, or there might be, you know, so they're not calm marks anymore. There are different kinds of marks. And then we're looking at pattern. We're also looking at how we can add harmony to our images. So basically, we will now do an exercise where we are taking our line for drawing. I'm going to go to the left side of my paper. And you can either start from the top if you like. You can see with Paul Clay's thing, he might have started at the top. I don't know, he might have gone there later on. He's actually started with the table. He's almost looking at making a composition. But you might be going for a journey from one place to another. You might be going from home to the station. And what do you think you see on that journey? You might be traveling to another place. Now that we are in lockdown, we might be, you know, we might want to go to our favorite park, or we might want to go to our favorite spot. We might want a walk in the woods. So I will leave that as a free thing, however you want to explore your imagination. Okay, so you could do one particular shape and then you could stop and then start again. So while you're working on that, I will also just show you work of some artists and see. I liked Shonet's idea when she was doing her workshop. When you guys were working on your drawings, she was also showing you images of other artists' work. And I thought that's a really good idea, so that our hands are active while we're also looking at something else. So you don't have to look at my drawing all the time while I'm doing it. So let's start. And so I will start off with mine. So, you know, you are taking your line for a walk, and see if you might want to stop somewhere, or you might just want to carry on, and it becomes like a journey. So we'll do that for a few minutes before I take you to see other images, yeah? Now your lines could cross each other if you want. They don't have to, so if you feel you want them to cross and come back to a space where you were before, you can do that. So here we've got also an image of Bridget Riley, an abstract artist who used lots of circles in her work, and they almost became like an optical images. They kind of played on your eyes. We've got another Bridget Riley here. Again, just looking at different widths of the lines, the waves. the wonderful thing about this exercise is that nothing has to look like anything. And it's your personal mark. You know, so you're not really restricted by any photographic image. You're almost like working from your imagination, and it could be quite raw, whatever you're working on. And it's quite unique to yourself, your personal mark. These two images are by an artist called Escher, who sort of used a shape and he almost turned it around at different angles. And here we have Kandinsky's, who actually worked a lot in color, but I've turned them into black and white images just to see his form and the different shapes that he used in his work, and the way his shapes overlapped and crossed each other to create like, you know, different images, but also the way they related to one another was quite important. You know, the distance between the shapes was quite important.
That's really tremendous. It really highlights his incredible sense of composition when you take the color out of it.
Mm. Yeah, I was going to put in the color ones, but then I thought, I think, you know, we're concentrating on pencil drawings. It would be really good to see somebody like him, how he, you can see the darkness of the lines around his forms or the circles, and how the colors, you know, what the contrast does in this piece of work. Do you mind if I have a 5-minute break?
Not at all. We might do a little sharing if that's all right.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just going to
Do you want to stop sharing your
screen.
screen?
Okay.
If that's all right. Whereas I've got, I don't know. It's nice to have the time and space to do these things. I don't know what they mean. Oh wow, Bhajan, that looks really cool. Mine isn't nearly as abstract as that, or what's the word? Maybe it's too pale. But it feels, I don't know, probably too pale. Oh, Sarah, let's have a look. Oh, wow. Oh, nice. That's really cool.
On the seaside.
Yeah.
Fade.
With a ship in the distance. I like that. Lydia, let's have a look at yours. Are you wanting to share?
Top one, I reckon. No.
Oh, that's cool. Ooh, it's almost like a psychedelic park in black and white. I like that. And there's Bhajan's again.
I'll show mine.
Oh, yes, please, Charmian.
It's my hammock.
Ah, brilliant. Oh, I like you. I like the ground as well. Sort of looks like static.
Yeah, it does a bit. Anyway, yeah.
And then you've got these lovely organic tree shapes as well.
Yeah, they were fun doing those.
Mm. Let me just take you off spotlight so you're not just like
Yeah.
hyper aware of. Yeah. We've seen some lovely images, Bhajan.
Oh, lovely. That's
Sarah's-
great.
Sarah's especially, and Lydia's I liked, and all of them I liked actually.
That's great. So we're still working on these, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Or would you like to go on to the repeated patterns?
So,
Would that be a 15-minute thing?
yeah, well, one thing was I was going to do the other circle here and do outside the circle, but we don't have to because I think in a way we did what we got a lot out of it in the first exercise.
Yeah, yeah. And also we can sort of see where, if we did do circles on this, we can see the possibilities there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's quite nice.
yeah. So, yeah, maybe that's a good time to show how we can do images which, how we can make symmetrical images and how we can make repeated images.
Mm.
Maybe that's a good time. So people can finish these in their own time. And the idea was that like some of the Kandinskys or Paul Clays is that and the shading like we did was how we can then carry on adding the details to a particular area if we wanted. You could again mark out an area that you wanted, but the idea was to then work on the outside of it and not on the inside. Yeah.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they could even do.
Should we do that as a 5-minute
They
thing
do
now?
a couple of areas. Yeah, that would be quite cool.
Yeah, I think so. So if you then select an area here and draw your circle around an area. So I'll do one outside my tape. So now we're going to leave our middle area as it is and then actually work on the edges on the outside so that this almost becomes like, the negative and the other things are happening around it. So
should we do several or should we just do?
It's up to you if you think you want to do, put another one somewhere. I think that'll be a good idea, Jamie. I think that's brilliant. Yeah, so let's do several and then we're working in the spaces between the circles.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's going to go quite random with this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And they could be different size circles.
That's a good.
They don't have to be the same size. And I thought this would be a really good time to explore some of the techniques that you have learned already, which are the cross-hatching, the shading, those kind of exercises. So what I might do is, while I'm working on this bit, I'll put some paper here so I'm not smearing this bit of my drawing.
We'll do another circle.
Hmm?
We'll give this another minute, and because I'm just aware of the time. So we have a good 15 minutes for our next session, our next little project.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely.
Great.
Yeah. Now, do we need
So
a separate piece of paper for this next one?
yes, please. I would like you to actually have a piece of paper rather than work in your sketchbook, because we're going to be cutting the paper. So if you just had a loose sheet of paper, A4 sheet. So everybody got one?
Got some printer paper, yeah.
So if you can tear out the paper from your sketchbook if you like. Okay, so most of you would know this anyway. So I'm just going to show you how do we cut a square. I know that lots of the ones you've been doing before with Natalie and with Dominique, you've actually been measuring things and doing things. But here I'm going to show you how we can create something just with folding paper and working with eye and marking things. So normally, if you wanted to cut a square out of an A4 sheet, you would measure the width and then measure the, and cut it. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to fold our piece of paper to cut a square out of it. So make sure your corner is really, the edges match each other and you're right at the corner. So it's really important that you get the corner right when you're folding paper.
This reminds me of the origami classes I used to give at
Yeah,
library.
exactly. Yeah. So your corner has to be really well folded like that. Okay, so once we've done that, you're then just going to mark where this bit ends here and this bit here. Yeah, once you've done that, you're going to turn this around and you're just going to fold it in those two marks that you have. And then you can either tear it or you can cut it, whatever you prefer. I mean, I normally, just make sure it's really well folded with your nails, and then it's quite easy to tear it. Okay. So we can open it up then. Are we all on the same page, everyone? Let me know once you've got your square cut. Brilliant. Okay. Excellent. Great. So now we've got one diagonal already, and we're going to do the other diagonal. Okay. And now we're going to fold it this way. Open it. Now we fold it so we've got all the lines, yeah? Just going to share my screen for a minute. So you'll see lots of, can everybody see that? Yeah. You'll see a lot in nature, there's a lot of geometry, quite perfect geometry, you'll see. Things are symmetrical, but things are also very balanced. Just to show you, I just thought I'd put this example in so that you can create anything once you've got a structure. So I'll stop sharing here for a minute. Okay, so like you saw in those, so I don't know whether anybody's got a compass here. If you haven't, have you got, how many people have got a compass? Brilliant. Well, if you haven't got a compass, don't worry. Basically, what I want you to do is draw a large circle on this. So you can use a plate or you can use a big bowl, whatever, as long as you've got a circle. You can even use a tape or whatever. My circle's gone all wonky.
I think I've made half these pots myself and they're all wonky as well.
As long as, you know, we've got some kind of a circle on there. Yeah, if you're using a pot, just make sure the edges are the same distance, then you'll get it exactly in the circle. The top distance and the side images, you know, is exactly the same. Then you will get a circle in the center. Yeah. Are we there, everyone? Cool. So with most of the tiles or sort of like the flower shapes, so how do we do something which is repeated? So basically we're going to pick just one little segment of your drawing, and we can draw anything in it. So you can basically draw a petal if you want. If you want to draw a petal, you're going to pick up a mark in the middle, somewhere there, probably, let's say, probably here, in the middle like that. And then you can draw a petal. As long as it's just a curve there. I use my hand as a compass a lot, just your hand. So basically you just picked up a middle line and then just done. What you can also, so maybe I don't want to confuse everybody, but you can also use a line if you want. So that's another way. You can pick up just a line and do half a petal. The petal can be in different places. So whatever you prefer, you might prefer this to be a middle line, or you might just do one petal. As long as you've got something in a segment. Has everybody got that? Show me thumbs if you have got it. Yeah, brilliant. Excellent. So once you've done that, what we're going to do is we're just going to fold it here. So if your petal is here, you're going to fold it to the other side, and you're just going to press. You can probably see the petal line from the back, and you're just going to press the back of the pencil. You're basically just rubbing the back of the pencil. You're just applying pressure to the back so that your line transfers it. And maybe I should have said, if you use a HB, if you use a darker pencil like a 3B or a 6B, then it will transfer much better. And then when you press, more graphite will transfer on that bit. So you've got your second petal. Has everybody got that? I'm just going to rub this one because I think that'll just confuse things. Are we all there? Yeah.
Getting there, yeah.
So an image in one segment, fold it over, press from the back, the graphite transfers there. So we've got two petals in the quarter. And then we're just going to darken it with a pencil again so that it's quite dark. Are we there? Great. Then we're going to fold it halfway. So we've got two petals to transfer this time. And we're just going to press from the back. again. So this time we're going to transfer the two petals together. So that should give you your 4 petals. And then you darken it again with your B pencil, 4B, 6B, 3B, whatever. Yeah. Are we all there?
Nearly, just a couple more to do.
Give us a thumbs up once you've finished. Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. So, so basically you have 1/2 that you've done. Now you're just going to fold it over the whole of it, and you're going to press on the 4 petals for them to transfer onto the other side. Okay, so basically these 4, fold it on the other side, and we press again with the pencil from the back. So you can see the marks. In a way, they're quite light. You can see the mark through the paper. So if a mark hasn't got through, that means you just need to press it a little bit more. Maybe you just need to transfer the graphite, just needs a little bit more work on it. But once you've got the lighter impression, you can just then draw it anyway. How are we doing? Brilliant. So this is quite a nice way. Oh, that's excellent. Lovely. Got some nice examples coming up. Brilliant. Any more volunteers?
Oh, Claire, I'm jealous of the cat. Oh, that's cool, Sean.
That's beautiful. Lovely. Showing it. That's great. So, you know, that's how you can actually just create, you can even sort of create a pattern like that, a little one, and then you can transfer it. And somebody like William Morris would have done a lot of this, where you can see that his images were quite symmetrical. So he would almost make half of the image, and then it would be transferred exactly on the other side. And you can see lots of, you know, Victorian artists. I mean, a lot of wallpapers and things would have been done like this, where, so it's a brilliant technique for doing a symmetrical design. And, you know, these have been used a lot. If you think about Islamic tiles and this kind of pattern where you just join the points that we have of our circle and you just work the geometrical points, and that leads to lots and lots of different possibilities. So in a way, once you know this kind of basic structure, you can create lots of different designs. So I hope this is a beginning for your curiosity rather than an end, and lead you on to more discoveries in art. So I think I'm going to hand it over to you, Jamie. It's 3 o'clock now.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. A really cool session on pattern and pattern making and mindfulness. So yeah, that's lovely. I'm just going to spotlight you, spotlight me. Yeah, so yeah, thank you so much. That was really, really insightful, and I really quite like doing this, and also the where's my sketch? Shall we share our final mindful taking pencils for walks and stuff? Didn't get quite so far because I've been what do I need to do? Virtual background, stop the filter. But yeah, quite like the
Oh yeah,
stuff.
excellent. Lovely.
It's just, it was, well, hello, hair going on. Lovely to be able to just take the time with it, actually. Whenever I'm working in art, there's always kind of like a rush, you know, to create something. But actually, when there's no need to create something, actually there's something else happens, and it's really more, it's kind of more mindful. Keith and Maureen, let's have a go. Let's have a look. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, you're just muted, Maureen.
So I was trying to do the arches at Business Abbey with trees.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And that's Keith's one there. I don't know what his ones are.
No, nor do I.
It sort of looks like a lion or trees. I mean, it's so kind of abstract. It could be both things.
Glasses.
Or more. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great way to make abstract art. Claire, were you going to show us something?
Oh, excellent. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Reminds me of like the sunflowers. I know it's not a sunflower, but yeah. Oh, I like that. Really cool.
Brilliant.
Lovely stuff. Lovely, lovely stuff. Sarah, were you going to share us something? Oh yeah, there we go. No, that's not what I want. Oh yeah, that's much more detailed now, isn't it? Cool.
And see, you're on the beach. Wonderful. Oh, great.
Cool. Thank you, Sarah. Well, it's been really lovely being able to host these sessions. Oh, Risa, did you want to share? Do you want to share something? You're muted at the moment.
Mine's not finished. I need to do loads more, and I need to do the shading. I just got the general shapes, and
It's lovely. I can see where it's going to go, though. It's nice. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
It will go somewhere.
Maybe on the wall behind you. Who knows? Who knows? Thank you, Risa. Cool. Yeah, Lydia, did you want to share? I see you've come back on camera.
I couldn't quite bear to draw circles over it.
Yeah.
And so then I cheated and started using colour.
Ah.
I was hoping you wouldn't pick on me, so I wouldn't have to confess.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole history of art. They all cheated. They all used colour.
They all made up their own rules as well.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's a bit like me.
Beautiful. Keep at it.
Exactly. Be brave. Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much to Bhajan. Big round of applause to Bhajan for such a wonderfully spacious class. It's been so lovely to be able to just take time to do something and really kind of look at what we're doing and make something out of almost nothing, really, with that, taking the pencil for a walk. It's been lovely meeting all of you. It's been, hopefully we'll continue this for the next 3 weeks. There is that other event or other kind of workshop, and yeah, please join that if you feel like joining that, because it is free and you get more equipment and all. It's always good to get art material for free. And it's a bit slightly more on to a continuation for this. What was the Facebook page? Oh, good question. Let me just find the Facebook page and put it on here. Sean, are you all right talking about the project for a bit?
Yes, of course. Just to say that we'd welcome everyone, and that actually what we've done today is the most beautiful segue. If we'd sort of planned it specifically, it could not have been more brilliant at guiding into the next step, which is kind of to do this with colour. So please come and join us. And just let us know by booking on Eventbrite as soon as you can, and so that we can work out how to get the materials to you. And it's at the same time, 1 till 3 on Saturdays for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and that's the Facebook group just there in the link if people don't have it already.
Should I send my address then, Jamie? I've got your email.
Yes, you've got my email, haven't you? Yeah.
I'll send you my address then.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you.
And oh yeah, this is a different funding. This isn't a Peabody/Thamesmead funding. This is
Arts Council England.
Arts Council England. So, yeah.
And it's in collaboration with a theatre called Little Fish Theatre, and with Alex Cook, who is collecting stories, writing play about the ideas behind how we've been mentored and helped, and how we can help and mentor other people. So it's it's partly a research project and a cross-sectoral thing between art forms. So it's yeah, it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
Which is how come we have the funding and the money to be able to give away art materials.
So yeah, any ages, you know, if you feel like it, it's something a bit different actually, but also nothing scary. I wouldn't think it's. Hopefully, it's going to be lots of fun.
Yeah.
To learn.
It's more for adults. It's not a children's painting class. It is more for adults. It's so it will be fine if you have young children with you. It's fine if they're there too. Don't worry, we're not going to be saying rude things.
Well, I hope not. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to stop this recording. Thank you very much to Bhajan. Thank you to Shoned for holding space as well. And thank you to everybody who's turned up and showed and shared and been brave. It's been wonderful taking you on this journey. Hopefully we'll continue and be able to continue in person. So yes, we'll see what we can do about funding for next classes after the 3 weeks, but after that we might take a break. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you at some point at Lakeside. So yeah, have a nice weekend. Have a nice rest of your weekend. And speak.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy, Bhajan, that was beautiful. So beautiful.
Very
Thank you.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Thanks, Shona.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.